and seconded by Councillor Pauline Young. We will maybe wait to see whether or not Councillor Hamill is able to join us, but for the time being, let's deal with Councillor McDonald. So all in favour? Carried, thank you. So we've got confirmation of minutes is starred. I don't have any conflict of interest declarations. The forward planning schedule is starred. I'd like to, and the monthly financial return is starred. And so too is the Audit and Risk Committee. Did anybody want to unstar any of those things?
Question about 6.2.
Yeah, sure. So we'll unstar that for you, Councillor Tozer. So, Councillor Gates, how would you be excited about moving the start items? Moved, seconded by Councillor Taylor. Well done. So all in favour? Thank you. So we'll go to 6.2, the monthly financial report. And Councillor Tozer, you had a question. We might give Jordan 2 moments to get in. Oh, that's why it's been unstarred. So before we get a question, Councillor Tozer, we might cross to Paul. Did you want to?
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to introduce Jackie, our new CFO to the City, who started Monday.
Welcome.
So welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Day 3, everything's going well.
So maybe fire the questions at Jordan, not Jackie, please. Thank you.
Rightio. Anyway, so the council meeting is on Monday, Jack.
Okay.
So, Councillor Tozer.
My question is about 31, where it talks about the proportion of capital expenditure of actual versus budgeted. And normally, my recollection is that transport and lifestyle tend to sit around that, 80+%, maybe a bit more. And in both of these instances, they're at 58 and I think 69%, which is a bit less than normal. The question kind of has 2 parts. The first is, have we now adjusted in the coming budget, have we adjusted our spend such that the proportion having regard for the supply chain issues is going to reset back to that 80+%, or is this kind of practice until those supply chain issues are kind of sorted out? We should kind of expect that 58 to 69% from now on. It is a bit of an ideological question, but I'm trying to work out what should I expect in the future.
Through the chair, thanks, Councillor Tozer. We're hoping that's the case. So you remember through the budget preparation that we've knocked out. We've got a lower capital program next year, around just over 400 million, about $415 million.
Yes.
Whereas year 2 of the previous budget had that set at about $600 million.
Yes.
So there's in transport, in lifestyle and community, they've tried to make adjustments in the 22-23 budget, which will help get that spend back to normal levels, or even hopefully a little higher. Obviously, there's a lot of issues with supply chain pressures and that kind of thing, which it remains a lot of uncertainty. But in preparing the 22-23 budget, they've taken into account that there was a large underspend in 21-22, given that a lot of those projects are running behind. So transport pulled out about close to $50 million of projects from the 22-23 budget.
Yes.
To take into account the carry forward from 21-22. So,
follow-up question then. So as we come towards September, perhaps this year, September, October this year, we should actually, because the capital budget has reduced significantly, we should actually see that proportion of spent closer to that 80 to 85, and particularly as we draw to this, this kind of April, May time in 2023, we should expect us to be back at that point. There's nothing that we're anticipating that's going to keep it at that low 58% level.
Yeah, through the chair, no, hopefully that will be the case. As I said, there's still a lot of uncertainties with the delivery of capital programs at the moment, but the setting of the 22-23 budget will hopefully then rebalance that, and hopefully this trend will continue, because the carryover of capital has been increasing over the last 5 years.
Right.
So we're hoping that we can get on top of that and reset that, get back to those higher percentage spends. The indication, the capitalisation process is still being completed at year end, but the indication is we're sitting about 65% across the board for capital spend against budget for 21-22, which is low. Usually would be probably low 70s across the board. Transport, as you said, was probably more likely up in the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you, and through the chair. Obviously, with the supply chains challenges we've had, and I'll almost throw in the pandemic that we're going through now, not just COVID, is there any signs of it improving, or it's just something over the next couple of quarters we need to see where it lands? So as much as we're talking about it moving, where do we feel that supply chain and resource challenges are in a bit of a cycle without, holding you to it, but what's the feeling at this stage?
Through the chair, I'm probably not the expert on that. It's probably more procurement issues that they'd be looking at those trends, but definitely the briefings that we've had in the past, and the director may be able to add something to it, but the briefings in the past that those delivery on certain items are these long delivery times, and they've worked to try and secure supplies to best deliver the capital program. But I think those, with the war and the pandemic and trying to rebalance all the things that are going on, it's hard to see it fixing quickly. But a lot of the economists' predictions that the briefings that we've had are that the supply chain issues should ease moving into 2023. But definitely for the remainder of this year, those pressures will remain high.
Any other councillor questions?
Yeah, I was just going to say, through you, Chair, Councillor, so the materials, labour and time delays are still being experienced. They haven't necessarily increased in the areas that we're looking at, but they're certainly not reduced. So I think, as Jordan said, for the course of the next 6 to 12 months over 22-23, we can certainly expect that to be present.
Would anybody like to move that? I tell you what, I'll move it, and then if I can get a second to that, Councillor Pauline Young. All in favour? Thank you. Thank you. That wasn't too painful at all, was it?
Thank you.
Bless you. Councillors, we've now got the City Contracting Plan 22-23. Councillors, are there any questions in regards to it? Councillor Gates.
Thanks, Chair. I just had a question. I've had a run through all of the items, and I wondered, do we still have a design section in city infrastructure? Does anyone know? Because I noted that the design of footpaths and curb ramps is part of the contracting plan. I thought we had a design section that could do those minor type designs. Is it gone?
Yeah.
Yes, there is still a design section. A lot of this is supplementary to what council's only got so many resources that they can get the designs done with. So there's still a lot that will be outsourced as well. So
Okay.
they usually work in conjunction.
Okay, thank you.
No? That's 2 no's. Joe McCabe phoned me yesterday to say that he had intentions of changing the way that this was maybe presented to councillors in future quarters so that it was a little bit more relevant. If you just maybe take that on note in regards to moving forward, Councillor Gates.
You this question when we saw the contracting plan attachment, whether there'd been any changes to it. And I think you suggested there haven't been any changes. It was just...
To the policy?
Yes.
So through the chair, no, the policy itself is under review and will be coming to council probably on the next round. This is the contracting plan, which is another requirement under the regulation in line with the strategic contracting procedures that we follow. So this, the actual, the plan and then the list of contracts is the forward contracting schedule.
Right.
So the change that we're proposing is the current schedule that has come to you today is off the back of achievability and budget approval. It's been vetted by the directors and everyone is in agreement in that forward contracting schedule. In future, we are not going to bring the quarterly acquittal that we've brought to you unless it's a strategic contract. So what we will be bringing to you instead is more information to council on identified risks in categories of spend, activity changes in the market, things that are more relevant to you to make decisions as a council, rather than a whole list of contract activities. We will, however, still publish the contract, the forward contracting schedule on the website so that any of our business, local business and industry can look for opportunities to do business with us.
Okay, so from that, did you say that everything on the list that we've been provided today, excuse me, has been vetted and approved by the various...
Yes, it went round to the directors for a final approval. So it came out of achievability and budget. And then any activities that weren't delivered last year have been rolled over to this year with their budget approval. We sent the list out to all directors for commentary and feedback. We had 2 comments from 2 directors and we tidied up the list in accordance with their wishes, and this is the final list.
Okay, thank you. I'll move it.
Move Councillor Gates. I'll second it. So all in favour? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Councillors, is there any general business? Right. In that case, let's call it a day at 9:17.